Bar Association, Norman Minor Bar Association, the Criminal Defense Lawyers, the Ohio Women's Bar Association. They make you fill out a 45-page questionnaire that basically asks you every question. It's like a federal judicial questionnaire, if you've ever seen those. They want to know every case that you've had. They want references from attorneys that you've tried cases against. They want references for judges that you've practiced in front of. They ask you a lot of personal questions about your background, whether you've been held in contempt, whether you've had grievances filed against you. And by the time you get done with that questionnaire, excuse me, you know more about yourself than you've forgotten. Other bar associations, so the ones in the 5 counties that we serve, Ashtabula does not do a bar rating, but the other bar associations now basically ask you to send in a resume or a very short bio with a reference to your website or maybe even your curriculum vitae. They send it out to the entire bar association, bar members, and they vote. It's a preference poll, just like you're going to be doing tonight. And if you get a certain number, a percentage of votes from those attorneys, then you are the preferred candidate. So that's the way, at least it's working in this race this year.
Judicial Rating Coalition sounds pretty scary, isn't it? Well, what this basically is a group of lawyers, all of which serve dutifully, out of Cuyahoga County. In fact, my opponent was a trustee of one of those bar associations, even while she was serving as a judge, that basically put out a popularity poll, especially in our fight. And that Judicial Rating Coalition was for a Supreme Court candidate, and it was also not in our district. So chances are it was attorneys that most of which have never even practiced in front of our court. The bar associations are a special interest group. The bar associations are far too close with our judges, which is really why all those systems of discipline don't work to make the system more fair. Attorneys are afraid of aggravating the judge is afraid of aggravating the attorneys because then they don't get a good vote on the judicial bar board. I personally, this time around, will not be participating in any bar polls because I don't want to be so comfy with those lawyers. I don't want to be on the bench looking at a lawyer who's head of the bar association and says, if I don't rule the way he wants, maybe he'll vote against me in the bar poll. Okay? Being part of bar associations is part of being a lawyer, but it is not necessarily consistent, nor are their interests consistent with being a judge. When you're a bar association participant, everybody knows you. Everybody votes for you. You're having dinner with the same lawyers, the next morning you're ruling on their cases. And you serve on all kinds of committees with bar association people. And in fact, they help you write the rules. Well, guess what? What happens if your lawyer comes in and he's not a member of the bar association? What happens if that lawyer comes in and he's just representing somebody who's just an average Joe? What do we do with that? So although the bar associations serve a function, I respectfully request that they're far too cozy, and I will not be seeking any of those endorsements because I believe they compromise judicial integrity. Thank you.
Would you like an opportunity for rebuttal? I would. First of all, I resigned. When I first began a run for judgeship in 2004, I resigned from those committees that do the judicial selection ratings. I had been on them for a number of years. I was not a trustee at the time that I was standing in front of a room of 50 lawyers answering their questions before the Judicial Ratings Coalition in 2010. And my opponent has always participated in bar polls until this year. I suggest that you go back and you check Colleen O'Toole's ratings versus mine, and the answer will be clear. Thank you.
This is getting spicy.
This is the last rebuttal.
All right. judicial bar ratings. Does that make you better or worse? No, it makes you an insider or an outsider. And I pride myself on always being an outsider. I pride myself on not seeking fear or favor. I pride myself in honoring the Constitution, even if it isn't popular. And I definitely think that these ratings have gotten worse, and the politics of the bar associations have gotten more partisan, have gotten more biased, and have gotten more popularly based. And I think it's divided like the rest of our country. And so as a result, at this time, I don't have confidence in their evaluation systems, which is why I'm not participating. Thank you.
Okay, we've reached the end of our questions, and each candidate now will have 2 minutes for their closing remarks, and we will use the same order in which we started. So, Judge O'Toole, you get to go first.
Up and down, sorry. My name is Colleen Mary O'Toole, and I'm seeking your vote for the 11th Appellate District. I thank you very much for coming out tonight, and just as in closing, I'm a lifelong conservative, a lifelong Republican. I'm endorsed by the Portage County Tea Party, and I'm also endorsed by Buckeye Firearms. I'm a carry and concealed weapon licensee. I belong to St. Gabriel's Parish, and I'm Catholic. I hang out in Concord and take care of my kids and love my husband. And quite frankly, I've walked in your shoes. And I feel I'm trained, experienced, disciplined, and best able to serve you. So I'm asking you, vote for Colleen Mary O'Toole, the right tool for the job. You'll also hear great slogans like Think Pink, my signs are pink. Also, vote early, vote often, vote Irish, and vote O'Toole. Thank you very much.
Judge Trapp.
Thank you. Before I begin my closing remarks, I'm going to violate a rule that my father gave me. Sorry, Dad. But it's based on the question I had about the case that I decided and some statements made here tonight. My dad told me you don't talk about your weapons and you don't talk about whether you carry. But because I know that there are a number of people in this audience, and there has been lots of rumors going around that Judge Trapp's going to take your guns away. Well, I too have been endorsed by the Buckeye Firearms Association. Sorry, Dad. My respect for the Constitution was reinforced at college during a lecture about FISA courts, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act courts, during a privacy law seminar. My professor had been a captain in Army intelligence, and he recounted the day that he took a book off the shelf in the library and found inside of that book, stamped, a rubber stamp that read in part, "The presence on the library shelf does not indicate the views expressed in this publication represent the policies or opinions of the Counterintelligence Corps or the military establishment." That book was the Constitution of the United States. In an effort in the 1950s to purge military libraries of so-called subversive materials, our government had unintentionally disassociated itself with a seminal document that forms the bulwark of our democracy. I have committed at that point in my life never to disassociate myself from the Constitution. There are certain core principles that sustain my work as a judge. My family taught me the value of hard work, dedication to your life calling, and perseverance. My teachers taught me the value of critical and independent thought, and to recognize that we're citizens of a greater whole with an obligation to better that world with our thoughts and our deeds and our acts. My church taught me the importance of faith, of justice, and charity. There is only one judge in this race, Judge Mary Jane Trapp, and I respectfully ask for your vote for a second term on the 11th District Court of Appeals. Thank you.
Thank you, judges. We appreciate your taking the time to be here with us tonight and to answer all of our questions.